Ma, Ai, Ammi, Amma, Mother. We may call them by many names, but the emotion behind these words remains the same. Mothers truly are a blessing for many of us, and while we often treat them with love and respect, sometimes we forget to treat them as just humans. We expect them to be multitaskers, caregivers, emotional anchors, forgetting that they are just humans with their own dreams, desires, and the right to live their life on their own terms. So, this Mother's Day at BizBuzz, we are not just celebrating the mothers across the globe, but also the ones in our own workplace. Let's hear their stories, their challenges, their struggles, their triumphs, their victories as they balance both work, deadlines, and school runs, client meetings, and their kids' tantrums. So, firstly, let's welcome Vinila, Tara, and Ramya, and very happy Mother's Day to you all. First, let's begin with your roles at BizBuzz. Introduce yourselves, your kids, and their ages, please.
Hi, I'm Vinila. I'm a content lead at BizBuzz. My son is 6 years old.
Hi, this is Tara. I have joined in BizBuzz as a HR manager. I have a daughter. She is Siri, and she's pursuing her BBA second year.
Tara, I also want to know from you, do you feel special on Mother's Day, and what does your kid do to make you feel special? There's also chatter around that every day is Mother's Day. Why only this day? Do you also feel the same?
I do believe that every day is a Mother's Day. And kids, like, sometimes if they want something, they keep behind us to get their things done. And coming to my daughter, she just started wishing me Mother's Day when she turned into college.
Do you feel special?
Yeah, of course.
And Vinila, what does your son do to make you feel special on Mother's Day? He's very young, I know, but do you have any fond memory of him doing something or making a hand painting or something for you?
Not exactly like you said, he's too young, and even on birthdays we have to let him know that today is my birthday, so then he wishes. So I think maybe going forward he'll come up with something special, but nothing as of now.
Since he's very young, is he more close to you or his father?
I mean, it depends, kids, right? I mean, it's like, kabhi kuch chahiye. So, I mean, if I'm strict in that issue, he goes to his dad. And suppose his dad says no for something, he comes to me. I think kids at this young age are, they're not into one person, but it depends on, where their wishes and desires are getting fulfilled more. But I think kids definitely have that comfort with their mothers. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when he's tired, I mean, irrespective of whether he's with his grandparents or dad, at the end of the day, I mean, suppose we get late in the office, 8:39, so he calls me saying that I need you. So I think, whoever they are with at the end of the day,
he needs you, yeah. Tara, are you close to your mother? Like, you are close to Siri, I know, and you're very concerned about her. But are you also close to your mother? And what's that one quality that you probably have picked up from your mother and you want to pass down to maybe Siri?
Yeah, so obviously every girl child, she is more attached to mothers at certain point. What I get inspired by my mother is the patience, the tolerance level, and the care she gives to all our siblings or family. That inspires me a lot. What I want to teach my kid, be patient, treat everyone with good care, be kind. So I want to pass on to that to my kid.
And what do you want to pass down from your quality that you have built? Because as women, we are not often taught to be certain way, but then we have to build ourselves from scratch. So as a very independent woman that you are, what's that one quality of yours that you would like to pass down to your son?
I think going by how the world is working right now, I think I would tell him to be, independence is one thing that you have already mentioned, but I think one thing is protecting themselves and standing strong, whatever it might be. So I always tell him that, even when he goes to school, I mean, people, for example, one day he just told me that some girl commented he's very lean or something like that. So I said, don't take anything from anybody. I think that may sound harsh for some people, but I think going by the way how the world is turning out to be, it's definitely very important to stand up for ourselves and, give it back. I mean, sometimes it might be wrong, but I tell him every day, to stand up for himself and give it back whatever it is, and don't take anything on yourself. That might, you know, make you feel bad later. So that's what I tell him on a daily basis.
Since you also have a son, we often don't teach our son or our brothers or our male figures in our life to be vulnerable, to cry. Is that one thing that you strictly work on so that he also needs to feel all the emotions that there is? Or because they say कि मर्द रोते नहीं हैं or men can't cry, don't show your vulnerability in front of the world. So do you also feel that?
I think that's a thing which is imbibed, you know, because sometimes, you know, I think it is rooted in us. Sometimes, you know, we say, "Kyun ladki ki tarah ro rahe ho?" That comes sometimes when, you know, he cries for silliest of things. But later, then I realize that, yeah, we are also making the same mistakes that our earlier generations did. What you have said is, like, you know, absolutely right. I think we have to tell our kids, you know, that we are there for them and they can be vulnerable at times and they can share all their emotions. So that's what I tell him, like, you know, whatever happens in school, or if you feel sometimes that, you know, it's getting too much or you cannot read for a certain time or you don't want to go somewhere, be vocal about it, be clear about it, and let me know or let your family know. It's completely okay to be emotional, but I think somewhere, you know, we also comment, but I think that also we have to reduce that, you know, don't cry or be strong. Sometimes it's okay to not to be strong. I think that's a point of improvement for everybody.
In the ever-changing world that we live in, the generations you come from, Tara, or the generation you come from, it's very different from today's fast-moving world, right? And everything is there on social media, and children often don't often come to their parents ki, listen, I have this problem, I want to discuss it. Oftentimes they go to their friends and sometimes on social media, and they might not be right all the time. Since mothers, you know how protective you all are of your kids. So are you also scared that maybe they will learn something bad or wrong from social media or from the company that they are in, because you cannot control who they are in school or in outside world? Since you all are also working, you cannot always keep the eye on them. So how do you see that? Because security of your child is the most important factor for any parent, be it mom or a dad. So how do you deal with that? How do you seek that your child is protected and that they do not seek wrong advice from wrong person?
I think this is a very important point that you have mentioned, and you know, the doubt always lies there. See, because you know, in the world we are in, like you said, when we come for work, or you know, I am not there the whole day and his dad is busy with the calls whenever he's not caring for him. So obviously he has his tab, he has his phone. So trust me, I mean, for a 6-year-old, he knows everything. You know, see, whatever maybe we knew in, you know, 10th standard or 12th standard, all the kids, trust me, not only him, every kid knows everything. So because of the world that they have, all the digital world that they are exposed to, like, you know, the simplest thing that I do right now is checking the history. I mean, whatever, see, because he might not know something is wrong, but he might watch it. So I check the history, and you know, whenever he's on his bus or something, I keep tracking the bus, or whenever he goes home, I check the CC camera whether it's okay. But I think at the end of the day, you know, how much ever protection we give them, the world is always there for them to, you know, show up. So like you said, they might also go for friends sometimes when we are not available. I think that's something we cannot entirely control, but maybe as parents we should give them that independence, you know, that they can come and share anything with us. For example, maybe in our school days we were scared to share with our parents a few things, maybe especially few marks, maybe we were scared. But I never, you know, give him that tension of exams or marks or something like that. It's just the everyday thing, just that, I mean, sometimes you might perform, sometimes you might not. So I think that's where kids learn to trust their parents. But as you said, the dangers of the digital world are always there.
How about you, Tara? How do you deal with that?
As I mentioned, my daughter is into a teenager, so you know, like
That's difficult,
how crucial stage
Yeah.
you know, both are in, as a mother and as a girl child she is. So I had terrible experiences with her, you know, from the 10th standard till now, as she's been studying in co-ed, and it's a very fast pacing, you know, time, and so many new things with easy access of mobile and social media. So what I always you know, keep saying is, whatever it is there, I just wanted her to share it with me. So after I go home, I stay with her. We two chat for some time. So I keep asking her what happened, what was your routine today, what your friends said, like what was the discussions, like in a very friendly manner. I used to chat with her. And sometimes she used to share, and sometimes, like, based on their mood, they share, and they don't share. But still I keep trying to get information how much ever I can get it. And sometimes I used to check her mobile without knowing her. See,
Now she knows.
yeah, she knows. Later she knew about it, and so I just wanted to make her understand that we are more concerned about her.
Rather than checking on her, you're just concerned.
Yeah. So it's just for a security reason, so that she'll not fall into a bad company, or into any trouble.
Because in the teenage year that you said she's in, it's very like easy for them to be distant from their parents.
Yes, and they get easily offended also. Like
Yeah.
we
Don't
see-
teach us, we are growing, we are grown up.
Yeah. So even though she reacts in such a way, I used to sit beside her, and I keep telling her, like, you should share it with your parents. Though you have friends, you can share it, but at the end of the day, mother or parent should know what is happening with you.
I also want to know from you all, did you all grow up with siblings, and how important was it that you had siblings around you, since both your kids are single child? How was the difference that you feel that you experienced and via what she's experiencing?
So definitely, there is always a caring and sharing when you have siblings, and that I have seen in my daughter as she grew up alone. So they'll be like very demanding, and they need care for them only. They don't like sharing my love with anyone also. They are very possessive. So obviously later I felt like she also should have gotten one sibling. But yeah.
I'd also want to know, since you both are very strong, very independent, but growing up, I don't think as women you were taught to be this. So where did you seek that inspiration from? Who was your role model, maybe growing up?
My mom, she's very strong, and my grandmother, in fact, she led the family single-handed. She had my grandfather has so many siblings, all were staying in a single house, and she take care of the family. She balanced both the sides. I think my mother saw that, and she grew up in that same environment. I also grew up in the same environment. So our first priority is keeping family together, and be strong, be balanced.
Neela, for you?
So I think, I mean, I wouldn't say role model per se, because I was told that I was fiercely independent since very young age, and I had an opinion of my own. I wouldn't say, motivation, but I've heard my mom say one thing, that, if you see the entire older generation, almost 80%, 70 to 80% were housewives, right? Our moms or their grandmoms. So I would say, okay, I would not go into the percentages, but majority were housewives. So at the end of the day, whether they want to get something for themselves, they have to ask their husbands. So they have no other go, right? So, and sometimes it might be also that, they say, why do you need this now? Or see, I mean, every time you cannot expect somebody to give you, right? At some point when they're angry or when they're frustrated or whatever, or even when they're not, maybe husbands can say, is it necessary now? Or do you really want to take it, or take it later? That will always be there. So my mom, always used to tell me one thing, that never depend financially on anyone. Okay, so that's very important. I'm not saying I'm not dependent on my husband now. I'm not saying that, I'm contributing or entirely to my house or something like that. But I need not go to him for every small need of mine. Okay, see, for example, my mom, if she wanted to get a sari for herself, right? At the end of the day, she had to ask my dad that, I have to go shopping. But now I need not ask anyone to go for shopping, right? So I think that's a very good advice that, not only my mom, but I've seen many of their relatives give their children, that do not be financially dependent on someone. So earn for yourself, so that this question of why do you want, where do you want to go, so this question will not arise. So it's definitely very important for all the girls to be financially independent, is what I feel.
Before we wrap up, Since you both have two different perspectives, which I totally liked, I would like if there's one advice that you would want to give out to young mothers who are panicking right now, balancing work and the child, or hoping to join back the work because all the women take that maternity leave after they become a mother. So they are on a verge of joining the work, but they're also scared what will happen with my child. Or am I ready to take on the job now? What's the appropriate time period to join back the workforce? There are a lot of questions that go inside their heads. Since you both have done it so perfectly, I would like to say, what's that advice that you would like to give out to them?
Okay, so one advice is that, don't lose out on yourself, because at the end of the day, if you do that, you will be more frustrated and more disappointed. See, suppose you dedicate your entire time to your kid, at some point you will definitely think that, I don't have any life, and that might even make you go more into depression. So you should definitely take out time for yourself, and when you feel you're burning out, it's okay to ask help. Ask your parents or ask your in-laws or ask your friends or neighbors or anybody to take care of the kid for some time, so that you can have some me time, because that's very important. And I will say mom guilt will always be there, irrespective of whatever, that guilt will always be there. But if you lose out on career, I've seen many people drop out because there's no choice, I have to take care of my kid, there's nobody else. It's okay for a few hours if they go to daycare also, and trust me, nobody will intentionally harm them. For example, who have their parents or in-laws for support, that's even more amazing. But even, losing out on a career, see, like I said, there's one certain time period like 2 years to 4 or 5, wherein it's very crucial. You cannot leave them or you cannot again come back. But once they come to 5 to 6 years of age, you observe that it becomes easier. It definitely becomes easier. Once they get that, sense and all of it, and once they start becoming independent, day by day, it becomes easier. But just for those 2 to 3 years of struggle, I think there's definitely it's not necessary to lose out on careers, because trust me, every day it will get easier. Some days are very difficult, it's acceptable, but there's no point of losing out ourselves and our jobs for that struggle period. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to rely on somebody rather than losing out on ourselves and getting depressed. So I think that's there, that stand up for yourself, stand up for your careers, don't lose out on yourself. It's okay to ask help.
Do you have an advice?
Yeah, so younger mothers now are more into panic state, like, as you mentioned. But what I suggest them is, like, instead of getting panic, you just plan. See, to have a kid, we are planning, right? Everything we are planning.
Yes.
So to take responsibility also, you just discuss with your partner, and I could say that be in a balanced mind. Okay, instead of panicking, be in a balanced mind, and plan in such a way that there are many opportunities these days. Even companies are giving flexibility on timings, hybrid mode, work from home. There are so many opportunities, like compared to the olden days. So, and as Vinila mentioned, like, yeah, you can take help of your parents or in-laws, and even husbands. Nowadays, husbands are also like more understanding. They are giving full time to take care of the kids. You take whatever, the choice, you get it and make use of it, and don't get, don't feel yourself burnout. It's okay, you give, burden to your husband also sometimes till your kid reaches to certain age. Okay. And there are crutches available, so you can make your kid join there, and they will also learn, and they also become little dependent. Once they go there, they will understand mom, dad are going to office, they're going for work. They will also tune up their mind, and they become independent. That
Okay.
is what I feel.
Quickly, is being a perfect mom a reality or a myth? Is there a thing called perfect mom?
Nothing is like perfect, mom.
No, I mean it's completely a myth, because you're not perfect all the days. We have our own meltdowns. We have some frustrations. See, suppose at the end of the day you had a bad day at work, or obviously it translates to you yelling at the kid after going home. Yeah, I mean you might yell at them for sometimes because either they're not eating, or either they're not studying, or either you told them something not to do and they're doing it. So obviously there's no such thing as perfection. So it's all about juggling between things and giving them that love they deserve. But at the end of the day, if we look out for perfection, I think, and sometimes it's okay, I mean if they have a burger for dinner, or there's nothing home cooked or something like that, we are not perfect, and sometimes maybe their uniforms are not ironed. So it's okay to be ourselves, but if we go after perfection, trust me, nothing will ever move on.
Thank you so much. It was really an interesting and beautiful chat. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with me.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day to you all.
Thank you.
With this, we have come to an end to this video. But to the ones watching, let this be the reminder to treat our mothers as humans, as they are just women who deserve love, respect, and appreciation, not just today, but every single day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there. This is Gyansha Malik signing off, and to my dearest mama, Vani Malik, happy Mother's Day. I love you very much. Thank you so much for everything. Until next time, see you again.